Before we dive into the episode, I just wanted to tell you about the Moms Make Money Collective community, where we host free networking events every single month. If you are interested in learning more about how you can connect with other moms in business and build out your referral network, then go to momsmakemoneycollective.com/networking today and sign up for the free community. I hope to see you inside. All right, let's jump into the episode. Have you ever felt like you're on a nonstop treadmill in your business, barely able to keep up with everything on your to-do list, yet unsure if you can really afford to bring someone on to help? Or maybe you've had that nagging feeling that if only you could get a few extra hands, you'd finally have time to focus on growing your business instead of just maintaining it. Well, if that's you, you're in luck. Today, we are diving into exactly how to know when it's time to get help, the types of support that could make the biggest impact, and why this move might be the best investment that you make, not just for your business, but for your sanity as a mom in business. Now let's jump in. Welcome to the Moms Make Money podcast. I'm your host, Jenny. I'm the owner of Moms Make Money Collective, a podcast and visibility strategist and mom of two. Many moms feel like we need to sacrifice our careers for our children, but I wholeheartedly believe that we can have a thriving business and family at the same time. In this podcast, we're going to be diving into the ins and outs of running a business as a mom and getting real and raw about all things parenting. So buckle up because we're about to go all in. Welcome back to another episode of Moms Make Money. I am Jenny, and you're listening to the show for busy moms wanting to start, grow, and scale their service-based business in part-time hours. If you're tuning in today, you're likely a mom entrepreneur who is juggling all the things like running your business, taking care of your family, and maybe feeling the pressure to keep everything running smoothly on your own. But here's a little secret. Sometimes the most powerful step that you can take to grow your business and reclaim your time isn't doing more yourself. It's knowing when to bring on help. So today we're diving into how to recognize when it's time to get some support in your business, whether that means hiring a virtual assistant, working with some sort of contractor, or even bringing on a part-time team member. We'll talk about the telltale signs that you might need help, the different types of support you can get, and practical steps to make this transition a heck of a lot smoother. We're also going to cover some of the common fears that hold mom entrepreneurs back from delegating and how to overcome them. So if you are feeling stretched thin, tired of doing it all yourself, or simply curious about the benefits of bringing on support, then this episode is for you. By the end, you're going to have a clearer picture of how a little extra help could make a big difference in your business and life. Let's get started. As mom entrepreneurs, we often try to do everything by ourselves, both in our personal lives and within our business. This can quickly become exhausting and overwhelming without support. I actually started my business before having kids, so I really had no idea how many additional things would automatically be added to my plate once I had my children. And I won't lie, it was definitely a bit of a shock. I knew almost immediately that I wouldn't be able to juggle it all, so I hired help in areas I needed the most, like getting someone to come clean my house 2 times a month and doing grocery pickup to avoid having to go into the grocery store each week. I also brought on some key team members in my business to help serve my clients so that they were always being taken care of, even when I wasn't able to be at my desk, which was definitely a lot when my kids were, in the first 6 months of life, even all the way up to a year. My daughter just turned a year a couple weeks ago, so we're still very much in the thick of the infant to toddler transition. And also I have a almost 4.5-year-old, so definitely in the thick of having young kids and managing a business and the kids has been a lot. So if you're feeling overwhelmed trying to juggle it all, I hope that this episode gives you the much needed clarity to move forward. So first, let's jump into some signs it's time to bring on help. And I have 4 signs for you. So the first one is feeling overwhelmed or burnt out. So if you're feeling like you're always burning the midnight oil to finish everything that you need to get done, that is a very clear indicator that you could benefit from some help, whether in your business or within your personal life. Sign number 2, tasks are starting to fall through the cracks. So if you're finding yourself consistently missing deadlines, forgetting small but still very important tasks, or feeling like you're always behind, these are all signs that it may be time to delegate or at the very least lean into something like automation. This doesn't mean that you are an utter failure by any means. It just means that your business has grown and thus your personal bandwidth has decreased, so you are needing some extra hands. Sign number 3, lack of growth in your business. So if you're finding that your business is plateauing because there's no time to work on marketing or other growth initiatives, this may be a sign that you need extra help so that you can make marketing a priority. And sign number 4, you're not working in your zone of genius. So focusing on your strengths, aka your zone of genius, is going to be where you thrive. When we are working on tasks that we don't enjoy or we're not very skilled at, it can really demotivate us and in turn stall business growth because we're getting bogged down by things that we could be outsourcing or automating or even eliminating depending on the task. So let's talk about some of the types of help available. I feel like a lot of people seem to think that hiring means that you need to bring on a full-time employee from the jump, and that simply isn't the case. So there are 4 different types of people we can bring on to work in our business. So the first one is a virtual assistant or a VA. And these people typically assist with things like social media scheduling, email management, and other types of admin work. So some people brand themselves as a VA and they don't just do admin work, but typically that is what a VA does. They are really great for entrepreneurs who need flexible hourly help and can easily work remotely. I would say a VA is a really great choice if you're just getting your feet wet with outsourcing and you can kind of give them a couple things to work on and then you can work in your zone of genius. The next option is a specialized contractor. So here you think social media managers, podcast managers, graphic designers, etc. These hires can fill skill gaps and improve quality of what's already being done. This hire can be a great option for either one-off or recurring tasks. I think they're great for really recurring tasks a lot of the time. And they're doing this one thing. So your social media, they're doing your podcast, they're doing your graphics, they're doing your tech, whatever that may be, they are in charge of that one thing. The third option is project-based freelancers. And these people are typically hired for a specific project. So think a website redesign, a podcast launch, or even a systems overhaul. These are all things you may need to accomplish, but since it's a project, it's not going to be a long-term commitment. And the last option is bringing on a part-time or full-time employee. This option is best for businesses who are needing consistent and dedicated help. There's definitely more nuance when it comes to bringing on an actual employee, so just keep that in mind. This is typically a step that someone takes after being in business for quite some time, not something that happens in the first 2 to 3 years of business. In fact, I have been in business since 2017 and I still haven't needed to bring on an employee. I've used contractors, freelancers, and virtual assistants, but have not had the need for an employee at this point in time. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Now let's talk about how to decide which type of help that you need. So first up, you want to identify your recurring tasks. So make a list of these recurring tasks in your business that take up a lot of your time and energy, especially if they're tasks that are not within your zone of genius. Then you want to do a budget analysis. So put together a budget and think about what you can reasonably afford in terms of outsourcing on a monthly basis. I suggest starting small, like hiring a virtual assistant for a couple hours a week, or outsourcing just one area so that you can ease into the financial commitment and not be left feeling even more overwhelmed. So for example, if you hire a social media manager and say it's $850 a month, you know you're paying $850 a month and your social media is going to get taken care of. That is just a price off. That is just a price off the top of my head. Social media manager may be more expensive or cheaper depending on their experience, but I just wanted to kind of give you an example. And then lastly, I also highly recommend trialing with a smaller role or fewer hours as a low risk way to get used to delegating and learn what type of support is actually going to be most helpful for you. You don't need to commit to full-time help right away. In fact, I discourage you from doing that to start with. You can work your way up to full-time help, but it's not something we should start with. Now let's talk about some steps to bring on help. So number 1, you want to define the role clearly. It is so crucial to outline exactly what you want your assistant or contractor to help with, including specific tasks, how many hours you're thinking per week or per month, and any expectations that you have for them. This really helps set both parties up for a successful working relationship, and you can easily figure out if you are getting your return on investment or not because you have these things outlined, your KPIs, the role itself, and everything in between. You also want to document your processes before you even start going through the hiring process. So create basic SOPs or standard operating procedures for any repeatable tasks that you're planning to hire out. They don't need to be perfect, but they should cover key steps so that your assistant or contractor can follow them with ease. You also want to start small and scale up. So when you first bring someone on to help, start small by assigning the new team member just a few tasks at first, which allows time for them to get comfortable with the task and for you to build trust and assess the overall fit. If the relationship works out well, they can gradually add more responsibilities to their plate, but it's important to avoid overwhelming them from the jump. And then lastly, provide clear communication. So regular communication and feedback to your new hire is so crucial for building a strong working relationship. When you use tools like Slack or project management software like Asana or ClickUp, this can be helpful for staying organized and on the same page. Now let's talk about some of the benefits of bringing on help. First, it allows you to focus on growth-oriented activities. It allows you to dedicate the time that you were spending on doing tasks that were not bringing growth to focusing on tasks that do drive growth, such as developing new products or services or focusing on getting new clients in your business. It allows for more time for family and self-care. So having support means that you can free up your time to spend with your family, to take time off, to rest, or engage in activities that you truly enjoy. This is especially crucial for mom entrepreneurs trying to balance both home and business life, since we tend to put our own self-care on the back burner a lot of the time. I know I do, so I'm sure I'm not alone there. And then a third benefit is that it reduces your stress and prevents burnout. So taking some responsibilities off your plate can reduce your stress and help prevent burnout, making your business journey much more sustainable and enjoyable in the long run. But you might be having some fears about hiring, and that is totally normal. So let's talk about some common fears and how to overcome them. So first up is the fear of losing control. So maybe you're worrying about losing control or losing sight of the day-to-day in your business. I have totally been there before. But by setting clear expectations and communication standards, you can still maintain control in your business while someone is assisting you. You don't have to lose it all. You don't have to give over every ounce of control. You can still be in the day-to-day and be involved. Just because you're hiring someone doesn't mean that you completely lose sight of all those things. Next up is budget concerns. So if you're concerned about being able to afford help, you can start with task-based freelancers or hourly help so that you can budget accordingly. Say you can only afford like 10, 15 hours a month, so be it. When you're freeing up your own time, you have the opportunity to grow your business and in turn offset the cost of hiring help. Next up is imposter syndrome and I should be able to do it all mentality. Some moms may feel the need to prove that they can handle everything on their own. Hiring help is a positive sign of growth and is in no way a reflection of inadequacy on your part. So don't feel like a failure if you're bringing on help, because honestly, you're going to thank yourself in the long run and wish you did it sooner. I know that this topic can be overwhelming for mom entrepreneurs because we pour so much into our businesses that bringing on an outsider may feel scary, but I really encourage you to reflect on areas that you might benefit from extra help, even if it's just a few hours a week. Outsourcing or hiring support can be a powerful move for business growth. If you're planning on hiring help soon and you need a little encouragement or you want to chat more about it, let's talk over on the DMs on Instagram. My handle is just at jenny.suneson. That's JENNY.SUNESON. Next week, we are not going to have a new episode of the podcast due to the Thanksgiving holidays, but I will be back the first week of December with a new episode about setting up your business for the new year. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'd love it if you would head on over to our free Facebook group called Moms Make Money Collective to connect with us further. If you're more of an Instagram fan, make sure you're following us on Instagram at Moms Make Money Collective. If you're loving the show, make sure to leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcast. Your feedback means the absolute world to us. We'll see you in the next episode.